Well, hey there, YouTube. Petey Twofinger here. I had clicked open a bunch of windows of CNN stories, and I was going to be reading those. And then I thought, you know what, I could do this, and it would probably make for a fairly entertaining video. So I'm going to be reading some news today. Keep in mind, I'm middle-aged. I'm plus 50 years old, white guy. I was raised with traditional American values and kind of slightly racist home out of fear. My dad, I don't think he really talked to too many people who weren't, white or European. Like, he really loved people who were German or Swedish, that type of thing. And those were the type of people that he was friends with. And Germans are very different. They are not. They're not liberals. They're not left wing people. Anyway, I have tried as I've grown older to not be so close minded and afraid to talk to people of color. So that's led to some good relationships, meeting people who are not Swedish or German, and learning about their culture and becoming friends with them. But you'll still have this, with the way I look at things, I'm kind of grounded, and I'm not real left wing. I don't think it's funny to troll people about white supremacy. I think that's the worst possible thing you could do, unless you really feel that way. If you really feel that whites are superior and that blacks need to be slaves and Hispanics are dogs, they're not people, if that's the way you feel, obviously, yes, we are different. We are. And that's biological. We are different. And not only that, but we're segregated, and we have this kind of fear and hate thing going on. And I think that's bad. I also think that we would do better as a species of humans, no matter what color you are, that we maintain our culture. I'm not really for this melting pot thing so much. It's great that we live together and get along and work together, but we need to maintain our roots. And what makes us individuals and what makes us different is worth cherishing. That's precious. We need to hand this stuff down through the generations. And that's where the family comes in. And that's what I believe in, is the mother and the father, and the children are under that. And you do your best job to raise intelligent, loving, giving people who are not going to leave the world a worse place than when they were born in it. That if everyone acted like that code, a lot of the problems that we have would go away. So that's kind of the perspective that I'm coming from. I don't think it's right at this point for you to have more than 2 kids. If you're a breeder, you shouldn't be like, I'm going to have 5 kids, something like that. And I think that everyone needs to do their part as far as recycling, cleaning, and just not being a jerk. It's just really that simple. So with all of that being said, we're 5 minutes in. I haven't done a single story. Let's take a look at what we've got. I know today was a big deal stock market crash. We have the coronavirus looming, like America's going to be quarantined. This is getting serious. It's getting scary. You need to think about, if you haven't already, stockpiling water and food and medication. Don't fall into the trap of needing to get yourself a mask or paying through the nose to get that. Um, the CDC is saying that's not really. So here we go with our first story. UK woman jailed for trying to open the plane mid-flight. So we have this bleach blonde woman, her hair is white. Haynes, British woman, tried to open the door of a plane mid-flight, was sentenced to 2 years in jail Wednesday. Chloe Haynes, 26, on a flight from London Stansted Airport to Dalaman in Turkey in June 2019, had to stop her from opening the door. So she claimed that she mixed medication with pills. It says here Jet2 billed Haynes of West London more than £85,000, which is 100,000. Yeah, it's 100,000. It's $110,000 after her extreme heat. So she got a $110,000 fight. This one must be loaded, huh? They're giving her that kind of fine. So she lunged to the plane's door, screaming, "I want to die. I'm going to kill you all." So they struggled to restrain her. She wasn't just drunk, she was unwell. So she had a demonic attack. She completely went nuclear in a meltdown. So this comes down to just common sense, okay? You're going to be on a plane. You're goofy, you're loopy, you're going through some tough times. This is not the time to double up on the meds and start pounding down on the champagne or hard liquor, whatever you have. Take a sedative. If you're going to take something when you go on the plane, take something that's going to knock your ass out and you're going to sleep through the flight. But better yet, a sleep aid. And if you're not experienced with it, don't take it. Don't first time and find out that whatever you've taken, you have an allergic or a weird reaction to it, and it makes you hulk out and turn into a demon. So this is just common sense. Moving along, we have a man is sentenced to more than 5 years in prison for cyber stalking victims of Parkland families. You take a look at this guy, Brandon Fleury, 22 years old. You can just see that something is wrong with this guy in a big time way. Sentenced to 66 months in federal prison. He was convicted of cyber stalking and sending kidnapping threats to those killed at a 2018 shooting at Douglas Stone High School in Parkland, Florida. So he used Instagram accounts to target victims' families between December 2018 and January. So for a year, he said, why is it that someone can get away with doing something like this for a year? He was obsessed with, what's the guy's name? Serial killer Ted Bundy. When they caught him, he had found and saved thousands of photos of Ted Bundy, and he consistently bombarded these families with images of Ted Bundy and saying he was the killer and whatever he was doing. What this comes down to is the internet is a good thing, and we do need to police it. It does need to be watched. Now, I'm not talking about people pirating software and illegally downloading movies. That's where we need to be tolerant. Okay? We need to tolerate that. That's what makes the internet worth the money that you pay every month. Okay? You're paying a lot of money for that service. And if you don't get to keep some stuff through that process, it's not worth having the internet. This is common sense. Okay? And the content creators, that's part of the game. It's part of the game. People are going to want to try before they buy. And that's what there's a percentage of people who will just go out, read reviews, and buy something off the shelf. But There's also a percentage of people that can't afford to do that, and those people shouldn't be forced into a wilderness of not being able to use their computer for anything. They should be able to, if they're savvy enough to be able to figure it out, then good on them. But what we need to police is the deep web stuff, the selling drugs, trying to take out hits on people, the kiddie porn, and we don't need sites like, quick these like dating type, like Life's Too Short, Have an Affair, and Ashley Madison thing that was going on. That's the type of stuff. If we're policing our internet and we're doing it properly, that type of stuff will just kind of be discouraged. People won't trust the internet. But it's good that they arrested this guy, and they need that. Like the idea that went on for a year, it should have been a month in. You go and get this guy and take him out. These people that it's so obvious to see that if you let them continue, that you would end up reading that they had taken some lives, because that's where this guy's going. This cyber stalker who's going after these victims, and he won't let up. The next step is something in real life. And as a society, we don't need to tolerate that. Not for a moment. There are sick people out there. There are people that get off on this stuff. And those are the people that we need to... We don't need to lock them up and throw away the key. We need to lethal injection those people. We don't need to pay for that. If you started doing that, the percentage of people who would try to get away with stuff like this would real quickly taper off. So I'm not talking about iron fist thing. I'm talking about when, anybody that screws around, they get the death penalty. When there's no question that this person did this and what they did was evil, and you've got to lock them up for the rest of their life because they're such a danger to society. There's no point in that. At that point, you need a lethal injection. That's what you need to do. And this guy, he takes the cake for it. So here we have, China has made eating wild animals illegal after the coronavirus outbreak, but ending the trade won't be easy. So I'm not sure if you're aware, they have these wet markets where there's cages of animals stacked on top of each other, so the urine and feces, blood and pus drains down, and the animal that's on the bottom, you wouldn't want to be that animal. This type of cruel and inhumane stuff is also like eating stuff like weird animals, like I saw some footage of one of those wet markets, and there was some like fawn, like deer, like baby deers in a cage. Again, well, it's China, and if you don't know, you should start looking into China, looking into the pollution, why they have the social media score system is because the police are non-existent, and they're using that to have the society police itself. It's because the people in China have a unbelievable lack of respect. How people used to use the N word, that's these Chinese. They're the N word. They're people who are evil, and they don't care at all about any other life or anything, and they ruin everything they come in contact with. They're just evil, polluting, screw your neighbor, do anything to get ahead. They're horrible people, and there's so many of these people that have been just getting drunk in the streets and pissing and spitting and urinating, and it's anything goes. China is not good. It's really, really, really bad. And you're not a racist if you talk about people eating bat soup And that's why the coronavirus, you're realistic and you're intelligent. That's what you are. There's nothing racist about the truth. Okay? So, again, WTF. Why were these wet markets even like, oh, we banned it now that the world is on the brink of another black plague? And what happened today, this unbelievable stock market crash, what's the effect of that going to be? It's not going to be good. So here we have our next story. Very interesting story. Woman dies after drinking a simple sip of wine laced with MDMA. So, woman died after a single sip of wine laced with the drug MDMA, which is ecstasy. Prosecutors in the Belgian city of Antwerp. An unnamed 41-year-old woman from the town of Pleurs collapsed in December after drinking the wine, which prosecutors believe had been pumped full of MDMA by drug traffickers. So this is called Black and Blanco Red Merlot Cabernet Sauvignon 2016. So the cork had been replaced. Traditionally, this bottle of wine will have a black cork. It has a tan cork. So you're going to want to go to your liquor store. Be on the lookout for the tan corked Black and Blanco Red Merlot Cabernet Sauvignon 2016. Excuse me, that's a big French word. She was taken to the hospital but died 5 days later after being found to have ingested a lethal dose of the illegal drug. So this is a horrible tragedy, this poor woman. One sip. Man, I'd like to get a hold of that bottle. How many doses were in there? So authorities were the wine 2016 Merlot Cabernet Sauvignon by the Dutch brand Black and Blanco. The company issued a statement that they were very shocked and upset to have learned about the death. So there's an image of the cork. The bottle had been tampered with. The woman was 100% against drugs and only drank one sip. Man, oh man. What a crazy story. So here we have a mother made her son do push-ups in a store's bathroom because he wouldn't listen. So this woman is in a Hobby Lobby, disciplines her son. And that's a thing, the new wave of parents that not only do they not discipline their children, they don't even say no or stop it. They just kind of smile and, well, I have kids. That's their excuse. They can't do anything, and they let their kids run sideways over them and completely dominate the show and run the whatever area they're in. They are in control of it. You see these people in the store with their kids screaming at the top of their lungs in the grocery cart, or they'll have a 2-month infant that's with an apple whatever pad thing, and it's just it's already synced up with the net. These people are morons. You have to discipline your child. That's just how it works. We push and push and push and rebel as human beings, and it's made, the structure is made to have a mom and dad and to have discipline. That's just how it works. So moving on, that's just common sense. Yeah, good. Discipline your kids, but watch where you do it. There's cameras everywhere, and people will see you doing that, and they will take you to court. They will have your kid taken away from you because you're not allowed to discipline your kid. You're supposed to let the state do that for you. That's the state's job. So here we have black female-owned company was flooded with hate speech and 1-star reviews after it was featured in a Target commercial. So briefly, this was a business called Honey Pot, which was a feminine hygiene. Target's diversity team chose this business to feature them in their advertising campaign, and they spoke out and said this was such a great opportunity for black women. And the white female consumers reacted negatively, and they went to this business and used their voice. They reviewed it and they said, "This made me feel unwelcome because it was for black women only," is how they were portraying it. So now the media backlash is we have hate speech and racism and one-star reviews, when really what they're saying is, in the first place, what Target did and what Honey Pot did was racist. It was excluding white women in a product that's specifically for women. Now, obviously, Honey Pot knew exactly what they were doing, and that by doing this, they were going to ruffle feathers and they were going to sell more of their products, which I read were actually not good. Something like this, to me, I do not want to think about any woman's private parts, and this campaign forced me to do so. It put an image of smelly African American women in my mind, and I will never be able to hear the term honey pot without thinking of that. Am I racist? You tell me. Here we have Teacher of the Year suspended for showing students a picture of her fiance. So this woman, I don't know what to say. If you look at the image, oh my goodness. She's marrying, it's a same-sex marriage, and she showed her students a picture of her fiance, which is a woman, and was suspended for doing that. So she won a $100,000 settlement. So again, premeditated, brilliant. That's a brilliant way to make $100,000 for your wedding. Why you would, if you're in charge of that school, why you would suspend that woman? You need to promote her. That's what you need to do. And then make sure that all of the media outlets know that you promoted her, and all the white married hetero people, you fired them all. That's what we need. So here we have the CDC has thoughts about soul patches and mutton chops, and they have anything they have to do with using face masks. So the Center for Disease Control is talking about the face mask and how your facial hair might interfere with filtering that properly. And there's a chart, this purple chart. It's purple too. Face hairstyles and filtering face piece respirators. So clean shaven, and you have a diagram of a guy, and then they show what the... So clean shaven is a thumbs up. Stubble, thumbs down. Long stubble, thumbs down. Full beard, thumbs down. French fork, ducktail, Verquai, Garibaldi, buckholes, bankholes, soul patch, goatee. Oh wait, there's something written there I can't read. Chin curtain, extended goatee, circle beard. Anchor and Baldo are, I can't read it. Van Dyke, Imperial, side whiskers. Oh wait, side whiskers is up. That's just down here. They don't interfere with the mask. Mutton chops, no, because they go too far down. Hurley. Horseshoe. Zappa. Yes. Walrus. Yes. Painter's brush. Chevron. Handlebar. Pencil. There's two styles of pencil. Toothbrush, which toothbrush is Adolf Hitler. Yeah, that gets the thumbs up. Lampshade, yes. Zorro, yes. Villain, yeah, it depends. Fu Manchu, English, Dali, So this is an excellent, just to see the Zappa, you might want to check this one out. Facial hairstyles and filtering face piece respirators. This is on CNN.com. The story is CDC has thoughts about soul patches and mutton chops, and they have to do with using face masks. Moving on, a man filmed licking a tub of ice cream will spend 30 days in jail and pay restitution to Bluebell. So anytime I've seen people licking ice cream, and is it always Bluebell? Is that a thing? You lick the Bluebell ice cream? So this man has pleaded guilty to licking ice cream at a Texas Walmart. His name is Dearian Anderson, and he is he's white, but he's black. His skin is white, but he's obviously black. And
there are a lot of factors that go into it, but he caused a law enforcement investigation to be conducted by his silly conduct.
He is clearly representing his ratchet ghetto side. Every time I've seen this, it's not. It's always African American. It's always ratchet looking people licking the ice cream. So here's one for you. If you want to lick some ice cream, buy it. Take it home and eat it. What the F are you thinking? So what this means is we need to, when you're at the store and you're going to buy it, you need to tell the clerk, look, I'm opening this ice cream and we're going to look at it, and if it's been licked, I'm going to have you take it back. So unfortunately, that's a new thing we're going to have to do until they start safety sealing all the ice cream, which I'm sure is coming. We're going to have to start safety sealing everything. And why is it always these ratchet looking, like, just people that you look like you'd need to slap them? Like, what the F is wrong with you? You know, like the kind of guy who's going to move in next to you and blast his subwoofer constantly starting at 1 a.m. You know, that kind of guy. Dealing weed and having his people park in your spot every day. Just like throwing beer bottles out the window off of the patio like that. Just ignorant people. And this is the problem with the world today. This is what we get because people have stopped disciplining their children. They don't say no to them, and they don't tell them, look, you can't just, the world isn't yours. If Scarface is your favorite movie, your priorities are messed up. You don't understand responsibility. There's a thing to life. It's called entropy, and it requires a lot of energy to produce something beautiful and to maintain that. You can't just be a consumer. If you keep going to Walmart to buy a big puffy coat and getting more ink, eventually the world is going to implode. You have to do something. You can't just sit and consume and sell your weed. Here we go with the last story. We've arrived. A woman took 550 times the usual dose of LSD with some surprisingly positive consequences. There's a film with this. I haven't clicked on the film. CNN, drug overdoses can be life-threatening, but for two women who accidentally took a massive hits of LSD, the experience was life-changing in a good way. A 46-year-old woman snorted a staggering 550 times the normal recreational dose of LSD, and not only survived, but found that the foot pain she had suffered since her 20s was dramatically reduced. Separately, a 15-year-old girl with bipolar disorder overdosed on 10 times the normal dose of the drug, which she said resulted in a massive improvement in her mental health. The experiences were detailed in case reports published by the journal Studies of Alcohol and Drugs last month, and then a third woman who accidentally overdosed on LSD during the second week of pregnancy. She ultimately gave birth to a healthy son, now 18, who has not showed any impaired development. While the experiences of these women were exceptional, their stories can help inform the resurgence of research in the use of psychedelic substances for the treatment of such conditions as addiction, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety, the researchers believe. No clinical research could be done without the dosages this high. No clinical research could be done with dosages this high. and there are no publications exploring the positive outcomes of very large dosages of LSD, the authors said. To understand the effects of extremely high doses of psychedelics such as LSD, an examination on overdose in natural settings is required. However, experts stress that these cases were unique and warned against experimenting with the drug, which is illegal in both the U.S. and the U.K. They really don't show they don't really show the benefits of LSD. Rather, they show that in some people, exceptionally high doses don't lead to enduring harm, may do some good, said Professor David Nutt, the director of the Neuropsychopharmacology Unit, the Division of Brain Sciences at Imperial College London. Wow, what a place to work that would be, huh? What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm the director of the Neuropsychopharmacology Unit, the brain division of the Imperial College of London. Details of the case study come from interviews with the individual woman, their family members, their friends, drug suppliers, witnesses, health records, and case notes, according to the paper. Mistaking LSD for cocaine. Oops. A lot of people were introduced to heroin that way. The China white heroin. Yeah, it looks like cocaine. Not that I would know. A 49-year-old woman known as CB had contracted Lyme disease in her early 20s, which damaged her feet and ankles and left her in significant pain. In September 2015, she took 55 milligrams. What she believed to be cocaine was actually pure LSD in powder form. Woo! Buckle up. Authors defined a normal recreational dose as 100 micrograms, equal to 0.1 milligram. The woman blacked out and vomited frequently for the next 12 hours, but recorded feeling pleasantly high for the next 12 hours for that. Still vomiting, but less often. See, this is hard for me to believe that she really... According to her roommate, she sat mostly in a chair, either with her eyes open or rolled back, occasionally speaking random words. 10 hours later, she was able to hold a conversation and seemed coherent. Her foot pain was gone the next day, and she stopped using morphine for 5 days. When the pain returned, she was able to control it with a lower dose of morphine and a microdose of LSD every 3 days. More than 2 years, in January 2018, she stopped using both morphine and LSD and reported no withdrawal symptoms, although the case report said she did experience an increase in anxiety, depression, and social withdrawal. See, that's the thing. Taking a massive dose of LSD is going to affect you. There's just no way around it. That anxiety, depression, and social withdrawal. Case studies were compiled by Mark Hayden, the director of Canada's Multidisciplinary Association for Psychic Studies and an adjunct professor at the University of British Columbia School of Population and Public Health, Bridgetta Woods, a psychiatrist in Vancouver. They noted that in CB's case, ingestion of 550 times the normal recreational dose of LSD was not fatal and had positive effects on pain levels and subsequent morphine withdrawal. Authors note in the study that no lethal doses of LSD have been documented, although they said scientists estimated that a lethal dose in humans would be 14,000 micrograms. Well, they injected an elephant with a ton of LSD, and it completely went nuts and had a meltdown. I don't know if I think the elephant died. It overheated. I mean, do we need to do that to an elephant? First manufactured in Switzerland, and I'd like to take that needle and stick it in the guy that gave it to the elephant. How's that? First manufactured in Switzerland in 1938 as a potential treatment for bleeding disorders. LSD's scientific name, lysergic acid diethylamide. Subsequent popularity as a recreational drug saw it criminalized in much of the world, in both the United States and the United Kingdom. LSD is a Schedule I drug. The 15-year-old who overdosed on 10 times the normal amount of LSD in the summer solstice party in June 2000, known as AV, the experience led to a dramatic change in her mental health. The girl was diagnosed with a bipolar disorder at age 15, having suffered from depression and hallucinations from the age of 12, which at times had put her in the hospital, including once she bit her mother, the case study said. Her overdose happened when the supplier of liquid LSD had made a decimal place error when preparing the individual hits diluted in glasses of water, making them 1,000 micrograms instead of 100 micrograms. Oopsies. AV drank one glass and leftover drops from two others. Oh my God. Do you have to? You really need to? Partygoers said she behaved erratically for the next 6.5 hours, followed by what they believed to be a seizure. She was lying in the fetal position, her arms and fists clenched tightly. An ambulance was called, but by the time the paramedics arrived 10 minutes later, she was alert and oriented. That's a big word. When her father visited her in the hospital the next morning, AV told him it's over. While she thought his daughter was referring to the LSD overdose, she later clarified she meant her bipolar illness was cured and she was able to experience life with a normal brain. That's incredible. That's incredible. Free from all mental illness symptoms, bipolar or other, for 13 years until she gave birth and experienced postpartum depression. In the third case, detailed in the paper, a 26-year-old woman known as NM at the same party drank half a glass of the LSD and subsequently found out she was pregnant. However, the authors said the overdose did not negatively affect the course of her pregnancy. Research renaissance. While LSD has long been used for its mind-bending effects, the drug has been used to treat mental health problems. During the 40s and early 50s, tens of thousands of patients took LSD and other psychotropics as part of research into their effects on cancer, anxiety, alcoholism, opioid use, depression, PTSD. Researchers began to see psychedelics as a possible new tools for shortening psychotherapy. This type of research soon stopped in the 60s when LSD was declared illegal in the United States. However, in the past decade, research in this area has seen a resurgence. Scientists are today exploring the role of hallucinogens on treatment-resistant depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, cancer-related anxiety, addictions, and even anorexia. Fears of any permanent damage from psychedelics were eased by a large 2015 case study of 130,000 American adults compared to non-users. The study found no link between the use of LSD, mescaline, or psilocybin, the psychoactive compounds found in magic mushrooms, and suicidal behavior or mental health problems. However, studies have found unpleasant effects from LSD, both during the high and after. People with negative reactions can have difficulty concentrating, dizziness, loss of appetite, dry mouth, nausea, or imbalance for up to 10 to 14 hours after taking LSD. Headaches and exhaustion can last for up to 72 hours. And I'm surprised, we're done here reading that, did they not mention cluster migraines? Because there's some documentaries on that where these people who've suffered excruciating, you can't even comprehend how painful these headaches are, these cluster headaches, and they find that microdosing gives them 100% relief from that. So, wrapping that up, how long are we at here? Yeah, oh my God, 40 minutes. Wrapping that up, we really need to continue our studies of all of this type of stuff. MDMA, ketamine, LSD, psilocybin, mescaline, and DMT. That's the new frontier. So they need to get the research grants going and whatever type of legalities need to be tweaked. We're over the hoop. We legalized marijuana and they've weaponized it. It's so incredibly potent, and magic mushrooms seem to be the next step. So this is exciting. I would like to microdose with magic mushrooms. I would like to try that for my panic attack and depression that I suffer in. It's seasonal. It's only in the cabin fever months. So, and what I mean by microdose is taking enough of it where I don't feel it, like a serious microdose, not a small normal dose, but a minute amount, so I wouldn't really notice it. But unfortunately, I'm not sure on the legality of it just yet. I think it's happening. I think they're going to be legalizing it here in Illinois. Not sure. I have to look into that. Anyway, thank you for joining me for the news. Comments are shut off, but more than likely, when I run into a news day, if I don't have anything planned, I may end up doing this again. If it's a day when I find enough stories to give me like a half hour worth of content, you may see me do this from time to time. You can get to know me a little bit more about how I feel on these hot button topics about racism and basically humanity. It's how do we leave the earth a better place? Is it going to be made better by you being here? And this is my thing to the trolls, to the people who have stalked me and thumbed me down and continuously mocked me. How do you sleep? You know who you are. It's not funny what you're doing. It's really sad. It really is. And as a human being, I'm proud of how I've carried myself. And I have reason to be proud of my accomplishments and my hard work. And there's nothing to be ashamed of from that. You, on the other hand, these people, I've checked out your channels. No comment. You need to have a sit down and seriously rethink what you're doing with your life. If you think it's funny to constantly be lying and trolling people, doing stuff to get at them and then denying it, and that all of that type of internet bully, cyber stalking, harassment. If you're one of those types of people, I really pity you. I pity your soul, because you've done nothing but negativity, nothing. And not only is that sad that you've wasted your life, you have all these other people that you've affected negatively that look at you and know what you really are. And you don't even know that. You think it's funny. You have this other way of looking at yourself where, haha, these other people are wrong and I'm the one that's right, so I deserve to call them out. Where no, you're not. There's a whole slew of people you've affected that look at you through the eyes of reality, how the world perceives you, the piece of shit that you really are. And that's sad. That's pathetic. So it's something to think about, trying to take the high road and stuff. So I always say, good thoughts, good words, good deeds when I'm online, and peace.